In the next two videos, we will do the introduction to Python. We know Python is a very popular language used in the data science domain, and that's what we will use for this class. In this lecture, we will do the introduction to Python as a data science implementary language for this course. We will talk about Python installation, documentation, and to introduce Jupyter Notebook. That's what we will use for this class. And we will introduce the Python syntax and the semantic fundamental. About the data structure, control flow, and the function, we will further detail to talk about in the next module as well. Python is a programming language that's come into the existence from 1980s. It's a very versatile language due to the broad spectrum of domain-specific package that's implemented. The significant package we will use for this class including the NumPy. So NumPy provides the functionality of a computation and the storage of multi-dimensional array. Then we will talk about the SciPy. Provides scientific tools for operation like numeric integration and interpretation. And we will talk about the pandas. So that's provide a data frame object with functionality to filter and sort and manipulate data. Then we will have Matplotlib. So they will provide the tools to create enhanced quality graphic and the visualization. And in the last couple modules, we will talk about the scikit-learn. So the scikit-learn actually provide a toolkit for applying machine learning algorithm. So that will also talk about a couple useful algorithms used from the machine learning. In this class, we require you guys to use the Jupyter Notebook. So they will provide an interactive terminal and a notebook to create documents. In this class, we are required to using Anaconda IDE. Of course, you can use any Python IDE you would like to use. But most assignments, we require you to submit in the HTML or PDF format. So that will be created by the Jupyter Notebook. So that will be suggest you to install the Anaconda IDE. So you can go to the Anaconda installation website here we show you. You also can find this information in our syllabus. So you can copy over the link. So after you install the Anaconda IDE, actually they're including a couple useful applications, including the Spider. So that will be, you can use that to write complete Python program. To get started with the Anaconda, you can see the user guide from the link. So the most important thing we want you to install Anaconda is we want you to use the Jupyter Notebook. So that Jupyter Notebook can help us to create the HTML page or the PDF page. So they can interact from user enter the Python code and they can execute and display the result. So to get know more about the Jupyter Notebook, that's a link you can go to. Of course, during the following module in the lecture video, we also will demonstrate to show you how to using the Jupyter Notebook, how you will edit your Python code in there and run to get the result. But the most important thing for this week, you need to make sure you will follow the installation and have your Anaconda IDE ready. We talk about in this class, we will have everyone to have a final project to do the data science analysis. So you can have your own topic. You can looking for and search for the data you want to use. but also here are two popular data resource you can use for your project. So you can see the data.gov, or you can go to the kaggle.com. They have many useful data. You can search the keyword. For example, you're curious about the COVID situation, how the vaccine result. So then you can enter the keyword and find the data from the website. That's just two data sites we suggest to you. Of course, you can use your own data if you already have that for your final project. Couple Python fundamentals. Python is an interpreted language. You don't need to compile. They will be executed line by line, making it more interactive than other languages like Java. Python can be primarily run by IPython interpreter or Jupyter Notebook through this basic Python interpreter as well. So IPython, Interactive Python, is bundled with the Anaconda distribution. This can be started by typing the following command prompt like the IPython. IPython interpreter, as compared to the Python interpreter, provides a lot of functionality, very useful for the programming task. For complicated tasks, functional script has to be constructed by an individual .py file. You can either using the scripting to run the Python command, or you can write a source file, Python source file. So they will end with the py extension. So in order to run a file, the Python source file, you can just in the command prompt using the IPython followed by your Python source file. So they will run the program. Jupyter Notebook provides a multi-purpose versatile framework which incorporates an interactive terminal. Jupyter Notebook that allow for running code, graphic, text, and also they can save as the HTML page or the PDF file. So we will talk about the Jupyter Notebook example in the module 3. So in this module and the next module, we just do some basic fundamental review about the Python. And we will talk about the Python data structure in the next module. So quickly, we talk about some Python syntax. So that's a review for your Python prerequisite. Python is a language, is readable and can be understood easily. The comprehensive syntax and the feature can be reviewed in this section. So that's why you can see here, you will have your pound sign. So that will be the one-line comments. So then if you want to continue with the following line, you will have the backslash. So here you see x equal to 2 plus 3 plus 4. So continue at 5 and 7. They will be equivalent to you put in the same line or a different line. If you want to terminate the line explicitly, you can do the semicolon. For the colon, actually is indent used for the code blocks. So for example, we have the if statement. So then you will have your colon have the if statement. So then you will see how you will continue if that's true. And just like regular object-oriented programming, the dot operator is used to call some functions on an object. For example, here we have a group of numbers. So then you want to sort the data. So then you will do the x.sort. About the Python semantics. Python variables are stored as a pointer. Since a variable x is a pointer, it can be pointed to any data type of object. It can be integer, can be string, or any other complex type from the data structure. If two variables are pointing toward the same mutable object, such as list, then changing it using one variable will change the object with regard of the other variable as well. Example, here we have the x set. They have 4 values in there. Then we have the y point to the same location for x point to. If we try to sort x and print x, they will be exactly the same when you print the y. So you need to pay attention that pointer point to the same object, for they are mutable object. But for immutable object will be different cases. So some change not reflected for the immutable object. For example, like numbers or string. For example, we have x equal to 7. That means x actually point to an integer value. So you assign y equal to x. So then we just try to reassign the x value by increment by 6 again. Then when you try to print x and the y, they will be different. The reason is x and y actually they are pointing to an integer. So the integer is not an object, so they are not immutable. So that's why they won't be pointing to for the same location. Instead, we just assign the value x saved as a 7 to the y at the beginning. So at the end, when you print y, they are still y. But x will be updated by increment by 6. So that will be 13. Python is a pure object-oriented programming language. The data is not the variable, but the entity the variable point to. Attributes is the functionality that can be implemented on the data, or we can say the object. The function is the example of attribute. Is accessed using a dot operator. So that's earlier we say you can have the x dot sort. So that's why you just sort the object the x referred to. So for example, now in the script, you can try to assign L, have few data in there. So they try to sort all the data in the L. So the sort actually is a built-in function. The built-in function or method, we were using the dot operator. And don't forget you have your parentheses. So that means the function you will run. The type of the object is the type of data stored in there. So for example, if you assign x equal to hello, when you do the type x, they will show you the class is string. So how to do the calculation for the arithmetic calculation and the comparison operator? They will be very similar in Python and in other programming language. You have plus sign, minus sign, and multiplication, divide, and the modulus. And for the exponent will be very easy to use. You just have the double asterisk. So then you have equal sign and not equal for the comparison operator. Same as greater than, less than, and less than equal, or the greater than equal. We have many built-in types in Python. You have int, float, complex, bool, string, or a non-type. And also we have the built-in data structure. We have the list using the square bracket. We have tuple, so that's using the parentheses. So then we have the dictionary. So then you can have the key and the value. Then we can have set. So that's all the built-in data structure we will talk about further and give you more example in the next module. So later on, you will follow a couple small videos to see more examples from Python.